Welcome back, Steve's Auto Care. It's been a while since I've done a video, so here's a quick one. We're working on a 3.4 liter Toyota V6. It's a 4Runner. And today we're going to talk about this, your throttle boot. Okay, I don't have it tightened on. Anyway, right here is where the air cleaner would be sitting. And it has a bolt that goes into here. There's also another mount down here, and there's one right there. The problem that we have on this air cleaner box, though, is all of the mounts are broken off. Luckily, the one that was still bolted to this hole here, the plastic piece was there. Now, normally when I come across something like this, I would just ignore it. It's obviously been broken for a while, but we had a little problem. That air box was hanging and forcing this down. Now this is moving because it's not bolted, but my concern is, and I've ran across this before, is these throttle boots, they get brittle over time and they will crack. They'll crack here and they'll crack up here because the weight is pushing it down. Alright, so I was worried about that actually happening with this one. It hasn't happened yet, but it will. So I decided to see if I can fix it. So we're going to go over here. And what I ended up doing was epoxying this whole piece all the way around. Had broke off. So I put on some epoxy. I've let it sit for an hour, and we're going to bolt it back on. Unfortunately, this mount is the only one that is really working. It has another mount. I'm going to bring this around here. There. I'm going to see if I can maybe epoxy a washer of some sort to reinforce this, because I don't want it to be hanging down on that throttle boot. So just a word of advice. If you have an air box that's being held on or held in place just by the throttle boot, do whatever you can to find a way to support it. These throttle boots, as vehicles get older, they're getting harder and harder to find, and when you do find them and they're intact, they're going to be spendy. Otherwise, that's it for today. Our original complaint with this was some squeaky belts in the morning. It has new belts that I guess Toyota put on, but they have finally seated in and have stretched a little bit. It's too dark, can't see it. But she's got 3 alternator, a power steering, and way down there is a air conditioner belt. All 3 have been changed. They're new. I don't need to replace them, just had to tighten them up a little bit. But that's when I found that air box was holding on to that throttle boot, and I didn't like that. So we need to do a repair and alleviate that problem. Why is it a problem if the throttle boot gets a tear here or there or pretty much anywhere? Well, let's go back to our air box. Our air box has this thing. This is a mass airflow sensor. That mass airflow sensor tells the computer how much air the engine is consuming. Now, that sits right behind our air cleaner. And we're going to stand right here. Our air is going to come in here, pass through our sensor, and then enter the throttle boot. So if we get a cut here or over there or any place along this line that's after that mass airflow sensor, that is unmetered air that the engine is now consuming. The computer doesn't know about that. So the least problem would be just setting a check engine light that says there's a code for a bad mass air. Sometimes it can set a code for the O2 sensors being way lean. Worst case scenario is that the hole is big enough that the settings that the computer is making the engine run with, settings meaning ignition timing, fuel injection on and off time, sometimes valve timing if you have a variable cam timing, they all play into the role of how that computer is trying to make that engine run. And if it's getting too much air, those settings that the computer are using may not be right, and therefore you may end up with drivability problems. I've had cars that will not run with a rip boot because the computer cannot sense how much air it's using while trying to crank the engine over. Throws everything off. So that's why I'm really concerned about that. I don't want my client to be stuck on the side of the road or stuck at grocery shopping trying to start the car and it won't start. So I saw this, I saw the problem, I'm making the repair. Okay, well anyway, thanks for watching. Have a nice day.